They threw me out like garbage. My own mother handed me scissors and watched as they tore my white dress apart, searching for a watch I never stole. I had $15, no phone, and nowhere to sleep. 3 days later, I bought a lottery ticket with my last $2. You won't believe what happened next. Before we dive into this incredible story, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Trust me, you'll want to hear every single word of what happens next. This story will restore your faith in karma. Now let me take you back to the worst night of my life. My name is Abigail and I'm 28 years old. Well, I was 28 when everything fell apart. I lived with my mother Patricia, my stepfather Gregory, and my younger half-sister Vanessa. After my real father died when I was 10, Mom remarried Gregory within a year. From that moment, everything changed. I went from being the beloved daughter to being the unwanted reminder of her past. Vanessa came along 2 years later, and she became the golden child, the princess, the one who could do no wrong. I worked 2 jobs to help support the family. Every morning at 6, I'd head to my first job at a coffee shop, then rush to my evening shift at a grocery store. My paychecks went straight into the family account. Gregory always said we were pooling resources, building toward something better. I was too naive to see I was just being used. I cooked, I cleaned, I paid bills, and in return I got a small bedroom in the attic and constant criticism. But they were my family, right? That's what I kept telling myself. Everything changed the night Daniel Morrison came to dinner. Vanessa had been dating him for 3 months and she was obsessed. Daniel was 32, devastatingly handsome and filthy rich. We're talking billionaire-level wealthy. His family owned Morrison Industries, some massive company I'd seen on billboards downtown. Vanessa was convinced he was going to propose any day, and my mother and Gregory were practically salivating at the thought of having a billionaire in the family. I spent the entire day preparing for that dinner. Mom made me cook a 5-course meal like I was some kind of personal chef. She bought Vanessa a new red dress that probably cost more than I made in a month, while I wore my simple white cotton dress, the only nice thing I owned. When Daniel arrived, the whole family transformed. Suddenly, Gregory was a successful businessman, Mom was a graceful hostess, and Vanessa was this sophisticated woman. It was like watching a theater performance. Daniel was actually kind. When I served the appetizers, he thanked me genuinely, looked me in the eyes. Most of their guests treated me like I was invisible, but he saw me. I noticed him glancing at me throughout dinner with this look I couldn't quite read. Sympathy, maybe? During the meal, he excused himself to use the bathroom upstairs, the one near my attic bedroom. I was in the kitchen, elbow-deep in dishes, when I heard him come back down. 20 minutes later, everything exploded. Daniel stood up suddenly, patting his pockets, checking his wrist. His face went pale and my stomach dropped before he even spoke. "My watch," he said quietly. "It's gone. I'm certain I left it on the bathroom sink when I washed my hands." The room went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. I watched Vanessa's face go white, and in that instant, I knew she'd done something. But before I could process it, all eyes turned to me. "Abigail." Gregory's voice was ice cold. "You were upstairs." I felt my heart hammering against my ribs. I was getting napkins from the hallway closet. I didn't go anywhere near the bathroom. I didn't even see the watch. Mom stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. "Don't lie to us. You've always been jealous of your sister." I looked at her in disbelief. "Jealous? Mom, I would never—" Vanessa started crying, actual tears streaming down her face as she pointed at me. "She's always hated me. Ever since I was born, she's been jealous that I have a real father and she doesn't." The words hit me like a physical blow. Daniel tried to intervene. "Look, maybe I just misplaced it. Let's not jump to conclusions." But Gregory cut him off. "No, we're going to search her room, now." They dragged me upstairs, all of them. Daniel followed reluctantly, looking more and more uncomfortable. My tiny attic room became ground zero for their rage. They tore through everything, threw my clothes on the floor, dumped out my drawers, ripped apart my bed. I stood there shaking, watching them destroy the little I had. They found nothing. Of course they found nothing, but that wasn't enough for them. Gregory turned to me with this look of absolute hatred. She must have it on her. Strip search her. My blood ran cold. What? No! This is insane. Mom slapped me across the face so hard I tasted blood. You'll do as you're told, you ungrateful thief. Vanessa appeared with scissors. Scissors. My own sister brought scissors to cut apart my dress. I begged them. I cried. I pleaded. Daniel turned away. I could see he was horrified, but he didn't stop them. Nobody stopped them. They cut my white dress apart piece by piece, checking every seam, every pocket. I stood there in my undergarments, sobbing, humiliated beyond words. They checked everything, found absolutely nothing. For a moment, I thought maybe that would be the end of it. Maybe they'd apologize, realize they'd made a horrible mistake. Instead, Gregory grabbed my arm so hard it bruised. She already got rid of it. Probably gave it to some boyfriend to sell. Mom's face was twisted with disgust. Get out of my house. You're no daughter of mine. I wrapped myself in a torn cardigan, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold it closed. Mom, please. I'm your daughter. I didn't do anything wrong. She looked at me with pure hatred. You've been nothing but a burden since your father died. I should have gotten rid of you years ago. You have 10 minutes to pack whatever you can carry, and then I never want to see your face again. They took my phone. Said it was on the family plan, so it was theirs. They took the $300 I'd saved from tips, money I'd hidden in my drawer. Gregory said it covered the food I'd eaten. Vanessa stood there clinging to Daniel's arm, crying her fake tears, and he just looked away. I grabbed one small bag of whatever clothes I could find that weren't destroyed. As they pushed me toward the door, I turned back one last time. I didn't take that watch. And someday, you're all going to know the truth. Mom slammed the door in my face. I heard the lock click. That sound still haunts me. It was cold that night, late autumn, and a light rain had started falling. I walked for hours because I didn't know where else to go. I had $15 in my pocket, a bag of clothes, and a torn cardigan wrapped around me. Eventually, I found myself sitting on a sidewalk near the park, under a streetlight. That's when I finally broke down completely, sobbing so hard I couldn't breathe, hugging my knees to my chest. People walked past me, some stared, most looked away. Nobody stopped. I thought about my real father. He'd been the kindest man I ever knew. When he was alive, I was loved. I was protected. I remembered him tucking me in at night, reading me stories, telling me I could be anything I wanted. You're special, Abby, he'd say. Don't let anyone ever make you feel small. But I felt small now, smaller than I'd ever felt in my life. I whispered into the darkness, Dad, I wish you were here. I don't know how to do this without you. That's when the car pulled up. A sleek silver sedan, expensive but not flashy. At first, I thought someone was just parking, but then the door opened and a man stepped out. He was tall, maybe 35, wearing a perfectly tailored suit. Dark hair, strong jaw, kind eyes. He approached me slowly, like you might approach a frightened animal. Excuse me. His voice was gentle. Are you all right? I tried to hide my face, ashamed of my tears, my torn clothes. I'm fine. Please just leave me alone. He didn't leave. He crouched down a few feet away, giving me space. My name is Christopher Hayes. I own a restaurant about 2 blocks from here. I was heading home when I saw you, and I couldn't drive past. You look like you could use some help. I looked up at him, trying to read his intentions. Was this some kind of trick? Some predator looking for an easy target? But his eyes were genuine. Concerned, not threatening. They threw me out, I heard myself saying. My own family threw me out like I was nothing. Christopher's jaw tightened. Family should never do that, ever. Look, I'm not going to pressure you, but I have a warm restaurant nearby, food, and you look like you're freezing. Let me at least get you something to eat and somewhere safe for tonight. No strings attached. Just one human helping another. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was something in his voice that reminded me of my father. But I nodded. He helped me up carefully, not touching me more than necessary, and opened the car door for me. His restaurant was beautiful. Hayes and Company, the sign read in elegant gold letters. It was closed for the night, but he unlocked the door and led me inside. The warmth hit me immediately, and I started crying again. He took me to a private office in the back and brought me hot soup, tea, and a clean staff shirt to change into. He left the room while I changed, gave me privacy. When I emerged, he was sitting at his desk, not looking impatient, just waiting. Over the next hour, I told him everything. The whole horrible story poured out of me. The watch, the accusation, the humiliation, being thrown out with nothing. He listened without interrupting, and I watched anger flash in his eyes, but not at me, at them. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said something I'll never forget. "Abigail, I'm going to make you an offer. I need someone in my kitchen. The pay is fair. I provide staff meals, and there's a small apartment above the restaurant that's currently empty. It's yours if you want it. You can start tomorrow or next week or whenever you're ready, but you don't have to sleep on a sidewalk tonight." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Why would you help me? You don't even know me." He smiled, a sad kind of smile. "Let's just say I know what it's like to have nowhere to go. Someone helped me once when I needed it. Now I'm helping you. Pay it forward someday when you're able." I accepted. What choice did I have? But it turned out to be the best decision I ever made. The apartment was small but clean. A bed, a tiny kitchen, a bathroom. After weeks of sleeping in an attic and one night on a sidewalk, it felt like a palace. I cried myself to sleep that night, but they were different tears. Relief, maybe. Or disbelief that kindness still existed in the world. The next morning, Christopher introduced me to his staff. There were about 8 people working various positions, and everyone was friendly. But one person stood out immediately. Julia was 26 with bright eyes and an infectious laugh. She worked as a waitress and had been there for 2 years. During my first break, she sat down next to me with 2 cups of coffee. "So, you're the one Christopher rescued last night. He told me a little. Don't worry, your secrets are safe here." I liked her immediately. Over the next few weeks, Julia became my closest friend. My only friend, really. She taught me everything about the restaurant, made me laugh when I wanted to cry, and never once judged me for my situation. I worked hard. Kitchen prep, dishwashing, learning to cook under the head chef. Christopher was patient and encouraging, never making me feel less than anyone else. Slowly, day by day, I started to heal. The nightmares came less frequently. I smiled more, and I noticed Christopher watching me sometimes with this look in his eyes. Interest, maybe? But he never crossed any lines, always remained professional. Julia teased me about it constantly. 3 weeks after I started working there, Julia and I were on our evening break, sitting in the back alley on overturned crates. She was scrolling through her phone and suddenly gasped, "Oh my God, Abigail! The lottery jackpot is up to $1.5 billion. Can you even imagine?" I laughed. "With our luck? That'll never happen." She grinned at me. "Come on, live a little. Let's buy tickets. It's just $2. What's the worst that could happen? We lose $2. But imagine if we won. We could quit, travel the world, buy an island." Her enthusiasm was contagious. "Okay, fine. But when we don't win, you're buying me ice cream to make up for the disappointment." We walked to the corner store, laughing and joking about what we'd do with $1 billion. Julia picked her numbers carefully, using birthdays and lucky numbers. I just hit the quick pick button, letting the machine choose random numbers. The clerk handed us our tickets, and we folded them into our apron pockets. "When we win, we split it 50-50, Julia declared. We shook on it, both knowing we'd never win, but enjoying the fantasy anyway. Meanwhile, my family's life was falling apart, though I didn't know it yet. A week after they kicked me out, Daniel broke up with Vanessa. He took her to a coffee shop and ended it cleanly. She begged him to reconsider, crying and making a scene, but he was firm. "I can't be with someone who treats family like that," he told her. Vanessa insisted I'd stolen his watch, that I was a thief, that he had to understand. That's when Daniel dropped the bomb. I found my watch, Vanessa. It was in my car the whole time. It had fallen under the passenger seat. Vanessa went pale. Then she really didn't take it. But Daniel wasn't finished. You knew, didn't you? You took it off the bathroom counter when you came to check on me. You wanted to hide it and then find it later, be the hero, but it fell out of your purse into my car when you hugged me goodbye, didn't you? Vanessa broke down completely and confessed everything. She'd wanted his attention, wanted to look good in front of him. When the watch went missing from where she'd hidden it, she panicked and blamed me. But I didn't mean for it to go that far, she sobbed. Daniel looked at her with disgust. You destroyed your sister's life for attention. You let them humiliate her, strip-search her, throw her out with nothing, and you said nothing. We're done, Vanessa. Don't contact me again. He walked out of that coffee shop and never looked back. Vanessa went home and confessed everything to Mom and Gregory. I learned all this later, but apparently Mom's first response wasn't horror at what they'd done to me. It was anger at Vanessa for losing Daniel. How could you be so careless? He was our ticket to a better life. Gregory was livid. They tried calling Daniel, tried going to his office, but he'd blocked them completely. Vanessa asked if they should try to find me, apologize. Mom refused. She's probably fine. She always lands on her feet. We're not going to humiliate ourselves by chasing after her. So they did nothing. They knew the truth, and they chose to do nothing. That's what hurt the most when I eventually found out. They could have made it right, and they chose not to. 5 weeks after I'd bought that lottery ticket, I'd completely forgotten about it. Life had settled into a comfortable routine. Work, friendship with Julia, the occasional coffee with Christopher where we'd talk about everything and nothing. I was healing, genuinely healing. That particular night, Julia and I were closing the restaurant together. It was late, we were exhausted, and the TV in the corner was playing the news. Neither of us was really watching it. Christopher came in from his office. You two did great tonight. Saturday crowds are always tough. Julia suddenly froze, staring at the TV. Oh my God. The lottery. Abigail, where's your ticket? I laughed. Probably in the laundry. I forgot all about it. But Julia was insistent, almost frantic. No, seriously, find it. Let's check for fun. I searched my apron, the one I'd worn that night. Found the ticket, crumpled and faded, in the pocket. We gathered around as the news replayed the winning numbers. The first number matched. Julia squealed. You got one! The second number matched. My hands started trembling. The third number. The fourth. Julia wasn't laughing anymore. She was staring at the screen, then at the ticket, then at me. The fifth number matched. Christopher had moved closer, looking over my shoulder. The sixth and final number matched. All 6 numbers. Perfect match. The room went completely silent. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process what I was seeing. Julia's scream shattered the silence. Oh my God! Oh my God! Abigail, you won! You won the jackpot! Christopher grabbed the ticket, gently, checking it himself, checking the TV, checking again. His face went pale. She's right. Abigail, you won. You won $1.5 billion. My legs gave out. I collapsed into a chair, hyperventilating, tears streaming down my face. This couldn't be real. Things like this didn't happen to people like me. Julia was jumping up and down, crying and laughing simultaneously. Christopher knelt beside me, his hand on my shoulder. Breathe, Abigail. Just breathe. You're okay. This is real. You're going to be okay. I looked up at him through my tears. $1.5 billion. Christopher, how is this real? 5 weeks ago, I was sleeping on a sidewalk. How is this my life? The next morning, Christopher went with me to the lottery headquarters. The place was swarming with media, cameras, reporters. Security escorted us inside. The verification process took hours. They checked everything, validated the ticket, confirmed my identity. When they finally told me it was official, I nearly fainted again. I chose the lump sum payment. After taxes, I'd receive $850 million. $850 million. I couldn't even conceptualize that amount of money. Christopher had arranged for me to meet with his personal lawyer and financial advisor. We spent the next week setting everything up. Trusts, investments, security measures. I made one thing absolutely clear from the start. I want to stay as quiet as possible. Minimal press. I need time to process this. They understood. The lawyer asked what my priorities were. I didn't hesitate. Take care of the people who took care of me. My first call was to Julia. Remember when we said we'd split it if we won? Her voice was careful on the other end. Abby, I was joking. That's your ticket. Your win. I smiled. A deal's a deal. I'm transferring $20 million into your account tomorrow, and we're going to open 3 more restaurants together. You're my business partner now. She screamed so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. Christopher tried to refuse my help. I'd offered to help him expand his business, buy the building he'd been leasing. He was adamant. Abigail, I didn't help you for money. I helped you because it was the right thing to do. I touched his hand. I know. That's exactly why I want to do this. Let me help you the way you helped me. He finally agreed, and I could see the relief in his eyes. His dream of expanding had been on hold for years due to financial constraints. I bought a beautiful home, not a gaudy mansion, but a stunning property with warmth and character. I started the Second Chances Foundation, dedicated to helping abused women and homeless youth. Within 6 months, we'd helped over 200 people find housing, jobs, and hope, and I'd transformed. Professional stylists, better nutrition, therapy to work through my trauma. I was glowing, confident, finally becoming the person I was always meant to be. The local magazine did a feature on my foundation. From homeless to humanitarian, the headline read. They wanted a human interest angle, so I told them a version of my story. How I'd been homeless, how someone had given me a chance, how I wanted to pay it forward. The article included photos of me at the foundation, at one of our restaurant openings, standing in front of my home. I never mentioned the lottery win specifically, letting people assume I'd built my wealth through business. My mother saw that article in a salon. She was getting her nails done when she picked up the magazine and saw my face. I can only imagine her shock. She rushed home and showed Gregory and Vanessa. She's rich! Look at this house, this foundation. She must have married some rich man, or maybe she has a wealthy boyfriend. Gregory immediately started plotting. We need to reconnect. Family is family, right? She'll help us out. Vanessa felt guilty. I'd learn later. Some part of her knew what they were planning was wrong, but she was drowning in debt, working a retail job she hated, still heartbroken over Daniel. She wanted the easy way out. So when Gregory said they should go see me, she agreed. They showed up at my foundation office on a Tuesday afternoon, unannounced, uninvited. My receptionist buzzed me. Ms. Abigail, there are people here claiming to be your family. My heart stopped. For a moment, I was 28 again, standing in a torn dress, begging for mercy. But then I remembered who I was now, what I'd built. I straightened my shoulders. Send them to the conference room. I'll be there in 5 minutes. I took those 5 minutes to compose myself, to put on my armor. Then I walked into that conference room like I owned the place. Because I did. They looked shocked when they saw me. Professional clothes, styled hair, confident posture. This wasn't the broken girl they'd thrown away. Mom jumped up, fake tears already streaming. Sweetheart, we've been looking everywhere for you. We've been so worried. Gregory stood too, playing the concerned stepfather. When you ran away, we didn't know what to do. I held up my hand. My voice was ice. I didn't run away. You threw me out. You humiliated me. You stripped me. And you took everything I had. Don't you dare rewrite history. Vanessa started crying. Real tears this time, I think. Abby, please, we made a mistake. I sat down slowly, deliberately. It's Miss Abigail. We're not family. We haven't been family for a long time. Why are you here? Mom tried the sympathy approach. We were stressed that night. Things got out of hand. But we've realized how wrong we were. We want to make amends. I laughed. Actually laughed. Make amends? You want to make amends now? 6 months later? Gregory changed tactics. Look, We can see you've done well for yourself. Maybe we can help you manage all this wealth, make sure you're making smart decisions." That's when I knew. They assumed I'd married rich or had some wealthy boyfriend. They had no idea. "You think I married into money?" Mom nodded eagerly. "However you got it, families should stick together. We can help each other." I stood up. "I won the lottery. $1.5 billion. The night you kicked me out, I bought a ticket with my last $2. The room went silent. Vanessa's mouth fell open. Gregory's eyes went wide with calculation. Mom's face cycled through shock, realization, and then pure, undiluted greed. "Billion? You won $1 billion?" I watched them carefully. $850 million after taxes, and in 6 months I've turned it into over $1 billion through smart investments. Vanessa found her voice. "Then you can help us. We're family. Abby, I'm so sorry about what happened. I've felt terrible every single day." "Now you're sorry?" I leaned forward. "You're sorry now that there's money involved. Let me tell you what I know. I know Daniel found his watch in his car. I know he broke up with you, Vanessa. I know you confessed that you took that watch, that you let me take the blame for your stupid need for attention." Her face went white. "I know that all of you knew the truth weeks after you threw me out, and not one of you came looking for me. Not one of you apologized." Mom tried to speak. "We didn't know how to find you." I cut her off. "You didn't try. You knew you were wrong and you did nothing. You chose your pride over your daughter." Gregory stood up, his face turning red. "Now you listen here, young lady." I pressed the button on the intercom. "Security, please come to conference room B." Mom's eyes narrowed. "You can't just throw us out. I'm your mother. You owe us." "I owe you?" I stood up, walked to the window. "I owe you nothing. You took everything from me, my home, my dignity, my family. You taught me that blood means nothing if the heart is empty." The security guards entered. 2 large men in professional uniforms. "Please escort these people out. They're not welcome in any of my properties, any of my businesses, or anywhere near me. If they return, call the police." As the guards approached, Vanessa broke down completely. "Please, Abby. I have nothing. Daniel left me. I'm drowning in debt. I work retail for minimum wage. Please." I looked at her without sympathy. "You have exactly what you gave me." "Nothing." Mom started screaming as they were led away. "You'll regret this. We'll sue you. We'll go to the press. You're ungrateful. After everything we did for you." I walked to the door, watched them being escorted down the hallway. "You did nothing for me except teach me who not to be. For that lesson, I thank you." Mom turned back, her face twisted with rage. "You think you're better than us now? You're nothing. You've always been nothing." I smiled, a real smile. "You're right. I was nothing, because you made me feel like nothing. But I'm not that girl anymore, and you'll never touch me again." The door closed. The building fell silent. I stood there for a long moment, waiting for the tears to come. But they didn't. I didn't feel sad. I felt free, lighter than I'd felt in months. My phone buzzed. "Christopher, are you okay?" Julia told me they showed up. I smiled. "I'm perfect. Meet me at the house tonight? I think we need to celebrate." That evening, I hosted a small gathering at my home. Julia, Christopher, Rosa from the shelter who'd first helped me, and a few other people who'd shown me genuine kindness. We toasted to new beginnings, to second chances, to the family we choose instead of the family we're born into. Julia pulled me aside at one point. "I'm proud of you. That couldn't have been easy." I hugged her tight. "It was the easiest thing I've ever done. They don't deserve space in my life anymore." Christopher found me later on the terrace, looking out at the city lights. "Quite a view," he said, standing beside me. "Quite a change from a sidewalk." I laughed. "You know, I've wanted to tell you something for months." He turned to face me. "I've wanted to tell you something too." I could feel the electricity between us. "You go first." He took my hand gently. "From the moment I saw you on that sidewalk, something in me knew you were special. Not because of any lottery, not because of what you'd become, but because of who you were even in your darkest moment. You were strong, brave, and kind. I'm falling in love with you, Abigail. My heart soared. I fell in love with you the night you gave me soup and didn't ask for anything in return. You saw me when I was invisible. You gave me hope when I had none. Christopher, you saved my life. He cupped my face in his hands. You saved your own life. I just gave you a place to do it. We kissed under the stars, and I heard Julia cheer from inside the house. Finally! She yelled. We laughed, and I realized something profound. This moment, this feeling, this life was worth more than any lottery jackpot. So that's my story. The family that humiliated me, that tore my dress and threw me out with nothing, never got a single cent. Vanessa is working retail, drowning in credit card debt from trying to maintain a lifestyle she could never afford. Gregory's business failed 6 months after I left. Turns out I'd been the only thing keeping it afloat with my paychecks. Mom is bitter and alone. Her friends stopped calling when they realized the wealthy in-law situation wasn't happening. And me, I found something worth more than $1 billion. I found people who love me for who I am, not what I have. I found Christopher, who saw me at my absolute lowest and showed me kindness without expectation. I found Julia, who became the sister Vanessa never was. I found purpose in helping others who were where I once was. That lottery ticket wasn't just luck. It was the universe telling me I deserved better all along. It was karma saying, "You've suffered enough. Here's your reward." The girl who cried on that sidewalk, clutching a torn cardigan, she's gone now. I'm still Abigail, but I'm a version of myself I never knew existed. Stronger, wiser, and finally happy. And every single day, I thank whatever force in the universe decided I deserved a second chance. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and share it with someone who needs hope today. Comment below and tell me, would you have forgiven them? Would you have given them a second chance? I want to hear your thoughts. And subscribe because I share true stories of people who rose from the ashes, who refused to stay down, who fought their way back to happiness. Remember, your worst day might be the setup for your greatest comeback. The people who throw you away don't deserve to see you shine. Keep going, keep fighting, keep believing, because somewhere out there, your moment is coming. I'll see you in the next story.